What up, everyone? Back for another video. So, hopefully the light and sound are both working cohesively now. As from what I heard, sound sounded good, light looks good. So as far as that's all up and running. Studio's coming along. I know it's a huge mess back here, but that shall be fixed soon too. So I want to try a new segment on the channel. As I said in the beginning when I started doing videos again, things are changing, it's re-evolving, I'm kind of redefining what the channel is. But what I said is it's mostly going to be based around just nerd culture in general, but also based on reviews. And yeah, that's what it's going to be. But something I want to do now is not just reviews of things that are here, reviews of things that are coming, things in the future. I did a lot of video game stuff back in the day, but it was never about when the video games were out. It was all about speculation. What character is going to be released, what's going to be there, and get some conversations going and talk about that. Once the games were out, I didn't really care because it's already been there, done that. Everyone's played it. Everyone knows what's up. There's not much to say. And there's so many things that are the same situation. This week was a huge week for announcements. There were a lot of things announced this week and last week. And those are the things I want to talk about. Because it's one thing when I have a product in my hand. It's another thing when I see something in the future, things to look out for. So as far as collectibles, I'll say things that look good, things you should keep your eye out for, or things that look terrible, whatever. And you know, when the product is released, when it gets here, if I do end up purchasing it, sure, I'll do a full in-depth review analysis of it then. But you know, it's still things to look forward to. Same with TV and movies. I've done reviews of movies and TV shows, but there's things that are in process that would like to be talked about but haven't finished yet. So that's what this is going to be about. Things to look forward to, things that have been announced, some speculation, mostly things that I think are interesting that I want to share with you. And in the same sense, let's hear about it in the comments on your end. If there are things you want to see, if there are things that you are excited about or you want an opinion on or you want to talk about, that's what the whole point of this video is. Let's get a discussion going and let's get the community involved in it and see what you're interested in as well. I know that wasn't the best explanation. I'm kind of doing this on the fly here. But we kind of have two different categories for this, and that's basically media and collectibles. So media is going to be film, TV, and video games, and then collectibles is going to be statues, figures, Iron Studio, Sideshow, Funko, all that stuff. And that's essentially what it's going to be. I'm not going to dip too much into the video games. Nothing against it. I love video games just as much as the next guy. But, you know, it's not really my expertise. I very well could bring things up, but since I don't play them enough to have, like, an in-depth knowledge about it, I feel like I'd just be spinning my wheels. So I just don't think I'm the best person to bring that stuff up. Now, as far as like other speculations go and other channels, there are plenty of other channels that do in-depth analysis speculations and do announcements and stuff like that. The difference is going to be I'm not going to go in-depth into everything. This is going to be a one-stop, just quick news things just to bring things up, just kind of like a news channel. Now, I fully support these other channels that do in-depth analysis of trailers and things like that and do full-on speculation and really dig deep. I fully respect that, and I love those, but that's not what this is going to be. This is going to be a quick touch on things, just kind of talking about it, just getting this discussion going. If there is some in-depth analysis that's needed later on, those will be separate videos. I'll break things down individually if needed. So, like I said, when the collectibles are released, I purchase them, then I'll do an in-depth analysis just like I did with the Mickey Quantum Mechanics, so we'll break it down then. So for this, we're going to just touch on a few things that have been announced, and we'll go from there. Long explanation. So let's get into it. Let's start out with the media side of things. So television and movies. A lot of things were announced this week. The first piece of news I got was Thor Love and Thunder started filming today. And, you know, as this video is being posted, it might be 2 or 3 days later, but it started filming today. It was supposed to start filming very long ago. This whole year has been a very long, dry year as far as media, as far as movies and television shows. Everything got pushed off. Collectibles, not so much, a little bit, but movies for sure. We're a full year behind, and we just started getting all the Marvel content again. I'm a huge fan, and it sucked having this entire year full of things we were supposed to get but haven't. But, you know, it's in the past, it's here now, it's coming back, so fine. We're just going to erase the past year, pretend like it didn't happen, start fresh. Thor Love and Thunder started filming today. We have set photos of the Chris's in the movie, filming that movie. So Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt both there. So that's really cool, and I'm excited to see. I'm sure Guardians are only going to have a very brief cameo at the very beginning of the movie, but I'm still excited to see them. I love crossovers, even if it's only for a second. And I'm pretty excited for Thor Love and Thunder. Honestly, I know a lot of people aren't too stoked about the Lady Thor, but I like Natalie Portman. I always have. Long before she was in MCU, I think she's a really good actress, and I think that she can do something good with that role. So I'm pretty excited to see. I know most people aren't, but I think Natalie Portman has a lot of talent, and I think she has good potential. And I'm happy to see characters we haven't seen in so long, because Endgame was 2 years ago. That's crazy. So I'm going to be so happy to see these characters again. And it sucks that it just started filming today, and I think we don't get the movie until 22, possibly 23, I think, depending on how things go, which is seems so far away. It's crazy. But I'm glad it started. So that's that piece of news. Next, there was photographic evidence spotting Charlie Cox on the film set of Spider-Man. So that shows that not only is there going to be a crossover, but that's huge news, because all the Netflix Marvel series was in limbo right now. Because Marvel took back the rights, but they couldn't use them because of their contract that stated after the Netflix series ended, they have to wait a certain amount of time, I think it's a 1 year length, before they're allowed to use those character rights again. And Daredevil was the first one, and I'm pretty sure that ended in October. So they're now legally allowed to use Daredevil in whatever they want. But people were still confused. They thought those series were just getting canceled. They're not. They've announced also that they're going to use some of them, in future in the MCU, and this is official proof of it. So Charlie Cox is going to be in Spider-Man in some way, whether he's just a lawyer, whether he's Daredevil. That's not for sure yet. We don't know that piece of information, but that's just a big sign of things to come. So that's why that's big evidence, because they're probably, if I had to guess, going to make all the work they've done on Netflix, they're probably going to make that canon. I can't imagine Sony or Marvel wanting to just toss all that work aside. So just like Sony's doing, they're going to do the multiverse with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, it makes all that work they did in the past canon now. So all those movies they make, they don't get erased when they reboot the series. Now they're going to have all this money from their back catalog. Same thing with Marvel. They're going to have all these Netflix thing, all this story that was built up. They're not going to redo it. They're going to use that and make it canon. So that's a good sign of things to come. I don't know if they're going to use all the Defenders. Nobody knows that yet. And I honestly didn't get too much into those series, so I wasn't too excited. But I'm excited now that it's in the MCU, now that Kevin Feige has a hold of it. Now that makes me excited. So that was a big piece of news there. In other news, WandaVision is in full effect now. That's the first piece of Marvel we've gotten in months. I think it's been a full year. I don't know the dates exactly, but it's been almost a year since we've gotten anything Marvel. These shows were supposed to come out last year. Winter Soldier, Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier were supposed to come out first. Now WandaVision is, and now it's fully here. So as of recording this, there are 3 episodes available. The 4th one will probably be the day this is posted. So that's very exciting. And people have been asking me nonstop. They want my opinion on that show, on WandaVision. And I'll give my opinion very simply. And that is, it's too soon to tell. Too soon to tell, too soon to give an opinion. There's not enough content out there. The basics I can say about the show is it looks well done. It's a well done show. And I'm interested in it. It kept my attention. But that's the most I can say. I've only watched the first 2. I'm about to watch the 3rd, which I know gives away a lot of information. But it's so early on in it, and there's so much unknown about it. It's too early to really give an opinion. So many people I've seen are very opinionated out there, either love it or hate it. But honestly, I feel like those people have those opinions before the show even started. I feel like they just had this, self-fulfilling prophecy of what they thought it was going to be and just judged it based on that. It's way too early to know. These episodes are so short right now that there's not enough information to give a full opinion. When the first season is over, you want to give your opinion then? Fine. It's too early, though. I don't want to listen to anyone's opinion, and you really shouldn't take my opinion. So that's my opinion. Not giving one. Looks good. It seems hopeful. I know the comics very well. I'm pretty sure I know the direction it's going in, and I'm pretty sure I know what's going to happen. If that's the case, great. Sounds good. But not for sure, so not much point in giving an opinion on it. I will say this, though. TV shows in general, I say TV, by the way, but streaming, Netflix, blah, blah, Hulu. TV shows in general, I'm not a big fan of. I just never really have been. And that's because of one or two facts, actually. One, they're mostly very low budget, much lower than any movie is or should be. And two, they tend to just drag things on. It just kind of drones on. They stretch things out so far, and it just gets boring after a while. And they run out of content so quickly. And that's almost always the opinion on every TV show out there. And, give or take a little bit depending on what it is, that's usually the case. Now, I'm very hopeful for what Marvel's going to do. Kevin Feige and the MCU have not disappointed. They are really good at building story. The whole Netflix Marvel thing, they were okay. Give and take depending on what it was. Some were pretty good, some were kind of bad. They were just right around that middle range, no big deal. Now that they're in the MCU, I think there's going to be much higher potential. Disney has so much money at their disposal, they will throw it at a TV show no problem. So, problem number one, budget now shouldn't be a problem, as you've seen with The Mandalorian, as we're seeing with WandaVision. Problem number two, the story and it dragging on. They're keeping these seasons very short. WandaVision's only going to be 9 episodes. The first 2 episodes were only about a half hour long. The other ones will be a little longer than that. That's fine. When you do the math, 9 episodes at roughly a half hour, that's kind of the length of a long movie. I'm good with that. But when they make these hour-long episodes of so many in a season, it's too much. Just narrow it down. And even still, WandaVision seems like it has a lot of filler in there. I know all these questions are going to be answered about what it's doing, but even still, there's a lot of filler, and I think that's the case with all TV shows. So in general, I think that's always going to be my opinion of TV shows. I'll always prefer movies over that. There's my long-winded explanation, but apply that to any show when you ask my opinion. Same with Mandalorian. All right, next, moving on to some more news out of Marvel into the Warner DC universe. So apparently we're getting a Harry Potter TV series, supposedly. It hasn't been officially confirmed, but it's very, very heavily hinted at by various sources. And honestly, you're going to hate me for saying this, I know everyone will know, I still haven't watched Harry Potter. My friends have been talking about it. We're probably going to do a marathon soon, and I'm going to watch them. I've watched the Fantastic Beasts movies, but I never saw Harry Potter. It came out when I was 12, the first one, and it looked stupid. And I didn't realize it was going to be a long thing, but by the time I realized it was a big thing, I was already 5 movies behind, and I just never got around to it. I will soon, though, because I know how much people love it, and that makes me want to get into it. And I liked Fantastic Beasts, so I will get involved in it, and I will be curious to see what a Harry Potter TV show does. But referring back to that opinion I just gave, Warner Brothers does not have a good track record. DC does not have a good track record of making TV shows. And everyone's going to say, oh, what about this one? It's sure, that's that one exception some of the time. Most of them, not so much. So I'm very torn between that. I feel like I'm going to get very into Harry Potter after watching the movies, but it's hard for me to get excited about a Warner Brothers DC show because they don't do so well. They haven't done well in the past, and I don't think they're going to do well in the future. But prove me wrong. I'm happy to be proven wrong. That being said, news indicates that HBOMax is not doing so hot. They expected to do really well, and they're just not doing that well. And because there's so much competition out there, they really have a lot to compete with. And that's why they've recently announced, I believe that was this week too, all the movies that are going to come straight to HBOMax. Big title movies. And that is exciting. I don't know if they're going to lose a ton of money. I feel like they are. But so much content is coming. That makes me very excited. I'm an AT&T customer. I get it for free, so I don't give a shit. I'm watching those. But the people that do have to pay for it, I think they're struggling a little bit. So unfortunately, they're not getting my money, but I will watch all of these movies. Let's going down the list. The first one that wasn't a big one, but been talked about a while, is the Justice League Snyder Cut coming out in March. And honestly, I'm not excited for it, and I don't think anyone is. I think people have lost hope in DC and Warner Brothers, and I don't think anyone has any hope in this Snyder Cut. Zack Snyder's amazing. He's done wonderful content. But seeing the Justice League movie, I just don't see how you could possibly twist it around to make it into an amazing movie. Will his version of it be better than the original? Absolutely. I have no doubt in Zack Snyder that he will make a better version of that movie. Will the better version be a good movie? That part we don't know. Just because something's better doesn't make it good or great. It can be a terrible movie. This one's slightly less terrible, but that might be it. And they're throwing so much money into it as a desperation, and I just don't know if it's going to pay off. I'll still watch it, and I'm glad they're breaking it up, actually. I'm actually okay with that decision, with them breaking it up into episodes, because it is going to be like 4 hours long. So I'm actually okay with that. That part, I don't mind. So we will see. I want to be hopeful for it. I want it to be good. I love DC so much, but we don't have much hope. I hope they make it great. I hope that kickstarts this whole DCEU and makes it just as good as Marvel. Perfect. I couldn't be happier. But just doesn't seem likely. But we will see. Coming up soon. Next, they listed all the movies that are coming. There's like 15 of them. The ones that caught my eye, I didn't research each one, by the way. The ones that caught my eye, the new Conjuring. I just recently, my friend showed me the Conjuring series, so I've been getting really into that. So I'm very excited for the new one. That seems really cool. Of the horror genres, the Conjuring series, they have an extended universe as well, and I'm really getting into it. I'm starting to really like it. Haven't finished them all yet. Haven't watched the most recent Annabelle movies, but I'm not a huge horror fan, but I'm into it, and I really like those. So excited to see the new one, and excited it's coming for free. Next, Godzilla vs. King Kong. That looks great too. I'll admit, I didn't watch the last one, King of Monsters. Gotta go back and do that. But I love the first Godzilla. King Kong was okay, but I love crossover movies. I love that these franchises are building extended universes. They were supposed to do that with Tom Cruise and The Mummy. They had a plan to do that, and I was excited about that too, and that failed. So I'm glad that the Godzilla one is gaining traction and growing a little bit. I think this is the last one. I don't think they can extend it anymore past this, but I'm excited to see it. That first movie is great. The second one looked good. This one looks great too. Very exciting. Can't wait to watch that. Suicide Squad. Mixed feelings about this. We shall see. If you haven't watched, I did this whole video on love-hate movies. Movies that I both loved and hated at the same time. Things I really liked about it and things I really hated. And topping that chart was Suicide Squad. The original movie, first half of it, absolutely loved it. Loved the music, loved the cinematography, loved the introduction of the characters, loved the acting. All played very well together. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. Could not get enough of it. Then the second half, tanked hard. Hot garbage in your face. And I could not stand it. And it sucks to love something and hate something because I watch it all the time and I'll watch the first half and then just like go do something else for the second half. And it's a real shame. Now this new one's coming up. I hope they're learning their lesson and kind of building upon that. Bummer Will Smith won't be in it. Not a huge deal breaker, no big deal. Everyone else will be. So I hope they take that as an example and make it better. So I'm hopeful that they're doing this soft reboot. But again, we'll see. It's hard to have confidence. So we'll see about that. Next, Mortal Kombat. Oh, I'm fucking excited for this. Mortal Kombat. Finally, a full rated R version of Mortal Kombat. And honestly, this movie can totally suck too. I won't care. I'm not going into this movie expecting it to be this amazing cinematic feat of just like brilliant acting and well thought out story. Like, no, I don't even give a shit. It's just like the Mortal Kombat games. I haven't played Mortal Kombat since number 3, back when it was 2-dimensional. But every time there's character announcements, every time a game gets released, I go on YouTube and I watch it. Just for the fatalities. I'll literally watch fatality videos and character announcement videos, or sometimes the story of it. I'll literally watch it and I've never touched the game. That's how I feel about this movie. It can be the worst acting ever. I don't care. I want to see a movie where they're just chopping the shit out of each other and making it really Mortal Kombat style. That's what I want to see. It's going to be like, I want it to be like borderline horror movie where it's just action and blood and guts. Like, that's what I'm going for. So that's my speculation on that. I don't think it's going to be an amazing movie, but I'm going to be so psyched to see it, I won't even care. But it looks very exciting. The very small clips we have seen in pictures do look good. It's very hard to tell, though, with still images. CGI is a very fickle thing in the sense that as soon as things start moving, it looks very fake. So we'll see. I'm not very hopeful that the CGIs are going to be great because 90% of the time it's just not. But hopefully it's not so bad to where it's distracting. So that's my only hope for that the CGI is not so terrible, it distracts from the overall film. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Other than that, should be good. But you know what I think is funny, though? The Sub-Zero and Scorpion, the masks they've worn for 30 years now, look exactly like COVID masks. I was at Vaughn's today watching, looking at pictures, and looked up, and it's like, oh my gosh, everyone in here looks like Scorpion and Sub-Zero. So I think this has nothing to do with anything. I just thought that was very funny, something to point out. And the last one is The Matrix. We know very little about this, and who knows what's going to happen, man. The first movie is brilliant. It is still one of my favorite movies to this day. I watch it all the time. Second two, saw once, recently watched them again. They're rough. They're very rough. They're hard to look at. So who knows? Keanu Reeves has been killing it lately. He's been doing a ton of good shit. He's about to enter the MCU, so he's hot right now. We'll see what happens. It could be wonderful. The storyline could open up into this whole new extended universe and make it a great storyline. But, it's hard to do that based on what they did in the past. And it could be like the other ones where it's just kind of dragging out the same old concepts. Who knows? I'm definitely going to watch it, no doubt about that. But I have no expectations, and that's how I'd like to keep it, at the zero standard, and just judge it as its own thing. And maybe it'll revitalize the Matrix franchise. So that's it for the media. A lot. Oh, we're 20 minutes into it. Good Lord. So that's it for that. Let's try and speed through some of this other stuff. The next category, my favorite, the piece de resistance, is collectibles. So this week, Funko had their virtual toy fair. As you know, they normally have the New York Toy Fair, which had to be canceled because of bullshit. And everyone just kind of backed out. There was really not much point in it. Funko, they still did all the stuff and made announcements, but it just wasn't the same thing. So Funko did their own. Great. I don't really care which one. I just want to see the announcements. Honestly, though, I looked at all the announcements, not super excited about it. I like Funko, but I don't love them. And I know a lot of the viewers I have honestly hate Funko. Most people that are collectors kind of hate Funko. I don't blame you. No problem there. I'm pretty neutral about Funko. I get stuff every once in a while. I know you see a lot of pops here, but that's over 11 years of collecting, and most of them are gifts, not things I've gotten myself. 90% of my other collection, not Funko. But I take an interest when they do something I like. The only things that I found interesting is what I'll point out now. DBZ stuff, I always like Dragon Ball, and the pops have been getting better and better, so I do like that. I think they should do a mystery mini line. They, for the longest time, only had that first series of pop figures, and they were so basic. And now, I honestly can't keep up. It seems like there's one coming out every other day. I wanted to collect all the Dragon Ball ones, but I'm not even close. By the way, I'm going to make a line here. So everything from this side over on the pop wall, that's all Dragon Ball Z stuff. And Super. That's all Dragon Ball stuff. So that's how many I have. Like a third of the Funko products I have are Dragon Ball because I'm a fan. I really think they should do a mystery mini line because they have so many characters, ones they haven't even touched on yet, and there's too many pop figures. I'm not going to collect them all. But the ones I thought looked good was the kid version of King Vegeta, or Prince Vegeta, and I also like Dr. Gero. He was a very short-lived character, but I loved it. I loved the Android saga. I thought Dr. Gero was a really cool character as an android. Some of those episodes are some of my favorite, when Vegeta first goes Super Saiyan, so I really like that, so I'm kind of excited about those. But again, I really think they should do a Mystery Minis line, knock out a bunch of those characters, do Series 1, 2, and 3. I think that would be a good bet for them. And because we've had some Mystery Minis for Dragon Ball, but they were part of the anime Maj Podge series where they just had Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and that was it. I really think they should do a new series of that. That way I can collect more characters without taking up an entire wall of these giant pop figures. So that's it. Not too much exciting there. Some new Pokemon ones. I'm so happy Pokemon's finally made it into Funko. Same thing. I think they should look into Mystery Minis. There's so many Pokemon characters. Thousands, literally. So do Mystery Minis and just knock them out. Get them all out of the way. Get a ton of characters out there. Instead of pop figures, which I like them all, but I'm just not going to collect them all. Not that I don't want to. Not enough space. The one I thought looked particularly cool was Psyduck. I think he looks really great. I'll get him. And then they had another version of Pikachu, which, I don't need 10 different versions of Pikachu. Meowth looks cool, and then a silver Bulbasaur. I fucking hate that, by the way. Gold and silver versions of things. Funko, spare us. Don't do that. That's stupid. Please don't do that. The other thing I thought was kind of cool was the Deadpool Mystery Minis. They're going to do a Series 2. I'm very torn about this, though. I liked Series 1, and I tried to collect them all, but 75% of the way through, I just kind of gave up because they always look so good in concept, but I just can't get on board of the Marvel or Star Wars mystery minis because legally they have to all be bobbleheads. Pop figures and mystery minis have to be bobbleheads. And I hate that. And when you get them that small size, they look so bad when they're bobbleheads. In the pictures, they look fine because they shoot them from that upward angle where you don't see the spring. But when you get them, it just looks so goofy, and they're constantly defective. Like the springs are stretched out or shrunk down, and they're just like off to the side because they've been crushed in the box. They never stand up straight, and it's just so bad, and I hate that. And it sucks because it ruined a good series because I love that first series. And looking at this second series, they look great, and they look hilarious. They have a dinosaur one, and they have a hipster one in there, which looks like me. He's got a beard, and he's got glasses. He's got gauges, which I don't, but he looks very similar to me, and I would love that figure. But I hate that they're bobblehead. I wish they could find another way around them, because I want this series, and I want to get it, but I may have to pass because I hate the tiny bobbleheads. Same thing, they got some pops coming out of the same thing, and again, that dinosaur T-Rex Deadpool looks fantastic. He looks so awesome. But again, that's the picture. And I'm pretty sure when we get it and we see the bobblehead, it's just going to ruin it. It's going to look so stupid. Such a bummer. But at least the designs of them look pretty cool. The last thing from Funko. Not something I'm excited in, but I'm excited for the hope this brings. There is a Five Nights at Freddy's statue. Now, I don't give a shit about Five Nights at Freddy's. Honestly, I think that whole franchise is very played out, and I'm just sick of seeing it, to be quite honest. But what's interesting about this is Funko is doing a statue. They've never done statues before. Yes, they've done big pop figures. That's not a statue. I refuse to accept that as a statue. They recently did that big-ass Batman one, which is $100. Like, fuck that. No, I'm not paying that much for a giant pop figure. Absolutely not. But statues is the one thing that Funko hasn't dipped their toe in. They've done something very similar, kind of along the lines, but that's the market they need to get into. Collectors like me and the people watching this, long-term collectors, need something better than pop figures and mystery minis. We need statues. We need detail. That's why we're going to Quantum Mechanics and Sideshow and Iron Studios and Kotobukiya, however you pronounce that. That's why these companies are thriving, because long-term collectors need something bigger with more detail. Now, I'll be honest, this one doesn't have a ton of detail, but it's a sign of things to come, because there are so many figures and characters that just don't translate well into pop figures. Some do and some don't, and I think they really need to explore this side of it, do some statues, and hopefully they're reasonably priced. Who knows with Funko these days, but hopefully we can get some good statue quality things at a decent price. That's why I was excited for that, hope of things to come. But who knows? Funko has 10,001 different product lines, and 95% of them had like a 6-month run, and then they abandoned it because they didn't sell well, because nothing sells well as pop figures, which again is such a bummer. So if you are a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, buy this statue and show some support for it so we can get more statues in the future, and hopefully Funko will put some effort into it and put some real design quality into some statues. They have the potential. They have good designers on their team. They just need to put them to use. So let's hope they do that. This thing is a sign of good things to come, hopefully. All right, next. One Funko product that wasn't announced at the Funko Fair, but this one I actually am very excited for, and that is Crane. We recently got the, they're right here, you can barely tell, the new set of Ninja Turtles. I got the original set, which will go for crazy high amounts, and then we got the new set, the movie version of the Turtles, which I'm excited for, because we really didn't get any Turtle stuff for a very long time. And now we got Krang, and it's one of the oversized pop figures, and it's an Entertainment Earth exclusive. I'm so excited for this. The design looks great. This one looks really cool. I can't wait to add that to my collection. And it's not too badly priced at Entertainment Earth. $22.99, good price, but they screw you on the shipping. That's the only problem I have with Entertainment Earth, is that you get things pre-ordered, but they all ship separately. So you got to pay $8 shipping on every single thing. And when you add that in, that's kind of expensive now. Not outrageous. It brings it up to like $32. Not crazy, but now it gets kind of expensive. So I'm ordering much less from them because I don't want to pay $8 additional with tax and shipping for each item. But I will for this one, because this Crane looks pretty dope. So I'm very excited for that. And I'm surprised that wasn't part of the Funko announcements. Next. let's go on to some statues. So Sideshow and Iron Studios are the ones I've been keeping my eye on that I look into a lot. I know there are a lot of good ones out there, not discrediting them. Like I said, Kotobukiya, I always pronounce that wrong. There's so many other companies that make good shit. They're great too. I'm just saying these are the ones that I constantly keep tabs on because they send me emails because I order from them frequently. Kotobukiya is doing a phoenix, a dark phoenix statue. This one looks pretty great. They did this whole series of the women characters from, Marvel, DC, horror. They all look great, but honestly, I haven't picked one up yet. And that's often because I don't really ever see them in stores. And when I do see them in stores, it's at a comic shop, and they're outrageously priced, so it's not something I come across because I would have gotten them because they do look very nice. And this dark Phoenix one looks really cool, and it's got the flames in the background. They really do a good job, and the original prices for them aren't too bad if you can find them at the original price before they sell out. So this one looks pretty great. I'm excited for that. Next, some statues by Ray Harryhausen. You may not know who that is, but you may recognize these figures. I'm very excited for this because there was a documentary that came out recently on Amazon Prime about Ray Harryhausen. And he was the original person that did all the stop motion effects for basically before CGI was around. He did everything. All the special effects from like King Kong and all those classic horror movies. He did all of them. He was a big deal. I really loved his stuff because I hate CGI. I love stop motion. I'm a huge stop motion fan, and I wish they would have never gone to CGI and kept it stop motion. Anyway, that dude, watch the documentary if you haven't, then you'll recognize this figure. They've been releasing figures from his original movies that look exactly like the models he had, which is really cool. Because at first glance, you'll look at this dinosaur, the Rhedosaurus, and think like, oh, that's a crappy looking dinosaur. But when you realize it's an actual scale model of the original figure from the movie, now that's cool. Now that's something from a really old monster movie. I really like that, and I like that they're showing him some respect. So check out that documentary. Check out this figure. Next, Sideshow has been releasing some Yu-Gi-Oh! Statues. I'm a huge Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan, but of the original Yu-Gi Kaiba, that original first 5 seasons, I like those. I got the pop figures. But honestly, there's not a lot of collectibles out there for Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think that's because the card series itself is collectible. They're collectible cards, they're game cards, so that's where the collection is. But there's not a lot of, what I'll say, 3-dimensional collectibles out there. It's kind of rare. A lot of stuff in Japan, but not much here, and the ones we do get are very low in quality. I've collected some of the toys that Target had back in the day, which are cool, very crappy quality, and HeroClix did some. Those were great. They didn't do many, though. They only did 3 short series, but of the ones they did have, I got those. Those were cool. Other than that, not too much. There's not on the high-end statue side. Again, I think Kotobukiya, whatever the pronunciation is, did some, but those became very expensive. So I'm excited for these Sideshow ones. They look really good quality, and they're not posable because I hate when they have all the joints. They look stupid. These are actual statues, and at like $90 roughly, they look really great. So I want to grab some of these. And they have Atem, the Egyptian version of Yugi, which looks very cool. So I'm excited for these. So hopefully I'll have the money to get them. I haven't pre-ordered them yet. I'm a little tight on funds, having bought the new house. But hopefully maybe for my birthday or something like that, I'll be able to pick some of these up because they look really fantastic. And I'm excited to get more Yugi collectibles. There's that. Next statue I thought was really cool, excited about, is Sideshow. And they have the Alien Warrior from Alien. Again, there haven't been too many really high-end statues for Alien. There have been some in a lot of very low-end collectibles, like NECA does tons of Alien action figures, and they look great, by the way. Nothing against them. I'm not a big action figure fan, but this statue looks dope. It's very reasonably priced. It looks like incredible detail. I most likely won't get this statue because it's Alien isn't one of my top franchises there, and I don't have a lot of room, but if I get the chance to get it, I absolutely will, because it looks really awesome. I think I need some kind of Alien collectible, because I really don't have much. I have the Titans figures, but this statue looks pretty amazing. The detail is very, very high-end, so if you're an Alien fan and you want to collect a statue, I think this is the one to go with. It looks absolutely fantastic. There's more pictures of that. All right, and I think the last thing I need to talk about was some things from Iron Studios. These weren't recent announcements. These were actually announced over a year ago, but I am getting them. These are ones I have invested in, and they keep getting pushed back. They were supposed to be released in August, then November, then December, and now they're pushed back to this year. And some of these aren't going to be released until almost 2023. So they really got pushed back. And it's the X-Men series, because I like X-Men and I want some X-Men statues, but I could never decide which ones. So I thought, well, this is the way to go. This has basically everyone. And it's in 3 pieces. 2 large Sentinels and 1 smaller Sentinel with all kinds of characters. I think the first 2 Sentinels have 5 X-Men, and the last one have 3, but the cool ones, like Gambit, one of my favorites, and then Magneto and Juggernaut. And these are fantastic. They are amazing detailed, and these Sentinels are 3 feet tall. So you look at these figures and you think, oh, these tiny little X-Men. No, those are regular size statues that you might, smaller statues, but regular size statues that you would buy from Sideshow or Iron Studios. They just look small compared to this big thing. And my favorite part about this, there are X-Men and villains that weren't included. Those can be sold separately. So you can buy these statues on their own and add that to the collection. So you can keep adding on to it. Because I've said before, I'm a huge fan of when statues are cohesive. I've talked about some of these Dragon Ball figures and statues. I love to collect the ones where they go together, where you buy them separately and they come together as one set. I love that. And this is like the epitome of that. So far I've ordered the first one with Wolverine, Rogue, Beast, Jubilee, Cyclops. And then I have the other one, which was ordered for a gift from me, with Juggernaut, Magneto, and Gambit. The last one, the one that's not coming out for another year at least, that's the one I want to save for and get and make it part of one big collection. Because I'd like to have all of them. If I just get the first 2, I'll be happy. But I'd like to get that and some of the other additional ones. Like they have separate Deadpool, they have separate Cable, Blob, Pyro, Jean Grey, a bunch of figures that I'd want to collect too. And I'm going to have to clear some space because this is going to be massive. Imagine 3 feet tall and probably like 15 feet wide. It's going to be like almost an entire bedroom. But it's going to be so epic, and I'll never need another X-Men statue again. So I want to talk about these because it's something to look forward to. And even if you can't afford the full statue, it's crazy expensive, by the way. These are at minimum $1,800 a piece. So most people will never be able to afford that, and that's okay. But if you like any one of these individual characters, you can buy each one of them separately. That's what's cool. You can buy them in the big model. You can buy individual statues that stand on their own. You can buy the characters that aren't there. It's a really great concept what they're doing. And you can mix and match too. You can buy the big one and buy some smaller characters that you like better and switch them out. The possibilities are endless. And I saw the virtual tour they did of it over the summer, and they really look fantastic. Who knows when they're finally going to be released and shipped and how much shipping is going to cost, because the weight is 70 pounds, so I'm sure shipping costs are going to be outrageous, and I'm not looking forward to that bill. But when they do get here, I will do an in-depth review of each of those, so look forward to that. That's something that is for sure coming, and hopefully you're excited for that as well. So this is a much longer video than I thought it was going to be. It's been 40 minutes already. Holy shit. I thought this was going to be like a quick 10-minute video that I was just going to touch on stuff, but I got really excited. So the rest of the videos that I do of this style is not going to be super long either. It's going to be, I say the week of, obviously you know my style. It's not this week specifically. It's just kind of this general date until the next video and then the time in between. So week is a general thing. And the more often I do them, the less content there will be, so they won't have to be as long. But this will be filler in between things that I have, because there won't always be boxes to review. There won't always be new figures that I've bought because the purchasing has gone down a lot. So this will be something that we can talk about in between. Speculation, things you're excited for, things to look out for. And again, let me hear in the comments. Please don't feel free to sound off. Let me hear what you're excited for. Your thoughts and opinions on the things I've mentioned. Whether you agree or not doesn't matter. The things that I haven't mentioned, things that you want an opinion on, things that you want to talk about, please feel free to do so in the comments. Other than that, we'll see you next week for the next video. Who knows what it's going to be? Maybe another weekly video, another week up. Let's see, and then let's talk about it in the comments. Thank you all for watching and supporting. See you on the next video. Love you all. Peace. You want to say bye, Wolf? Wolf? He's out.